Never mind. So, so here monks, so now this is, the sutta is now going on, okay? So here monks, a monk abides contemplating the body in regard to the body. So now the mindfulness of body is coming, okay? Diligently knowing clearly and mindfully, free from desire and discontent in the world. A monk abides contemplating, or you can say observing, the feeling in regard to feeling. And so the text goes in the same manner, okay? Feeling, the feeling in regard to feeling, diligently knowing clearly and mindfully, free from desire and discontent. So abides, or contemplating the mind in regard to the mind, and contemplating the dhammas in regard to the dhammas, okay? So now let's we find some keywords here, the body in regard to the body. So what does it mean, body in regard to the body? It means when you are when you are having a mindfulness practice, something related to your body, okay, then you are having mindfulness on body, not something else, okay, not about mind or other part of this mindfulness practice. It means like you cannot, it is something like, when it is about body, it is about body. So diligently means dedicatedly. Diligent means having, you need to have some effort. You need to have some dedication when you are practicing. Otherwise, it is not that you don't need to be, you don't need to have any dedication. You need to have some dedication, okay? But at the same time, you do not need to think that it is being, very forceful, okay? It is not being forceful, but you need to have dedication. Knowing clearly and mindfully. Knowing clearly and mindfully means, have you ever heard word wise reflection? Yoniso manasikara? Yes. So knowing clearly and mindfully means that you need to have wise reflection. So it should be clear. Whatever you know is should be clear, and you should be mindful and free from desire and discontent in the world. Free from desire and discontent in the world means usually the sense doors, right? And you're practicing mindfulness not with the expectation of gaining something in this sensual world, okay? It can be some sort of material gains, or it can be some sort of um, gaining the respect or fame or whatever. So free from desire means that. And discontent means, so I said earlier, diligent does not mean that you are being very forceful. So discontent here, it means that you need to, it shouldn't be based on your sadness. Okay, understanding should be there, knowledge should be there, some sort of wisdom should be there. So you are not being forceful, you are not being, with some, if you are practicing mindfulness with a little, even if it is a little with discontent, or say sadness or unhappiness, then it doesn't work. So it should be with content, with happiness, you should do it. Does that make sense? Yeah. So so these four, okay, having dedication or being diligent, knowing clearly and mindfully, free from desire and discontent in the world, is like four pillars. You need to have these four qualities when the mindfulness is in the practice, okay? So it is as same for when it is about in regard to the feeling, and in regard to the mind, and in regard to the dhammas. We will discuss furthermore. And so breathing comes, but I'm not going to discuss about the breathing, because last week you had a 3 hours, maybe at least half of the lecture was about breathing meditation, right? And so I will just skip the breathing meditation, okay? And before contemplation, so number one is in the sutta, number one is mindfulness practice that is related with the body. Number two is feeling. Number three is mind. And number four is dhammas. What dhammas refer to, I will explain that later. So I think because this breathing meditation and then mindfulness of body is like very much focused in every teaching, and the feeling, the mindfulness of feeling, mindfulness of mind, and the mindfulness dhammas is not so much focused. So for now, not so I will directly go to the feeling and then mind and then come back to the body and then dhammas. Okay, I think that will work better. So that, yes. Yeah, so contemplating means observing. So mindfulness means observing, okay? Knowing. We will discuss it later more. And body, in regard to the body, means that when you are practicing your mindfulness, that is something related to your breathing, for example. Then you are observing the breathing. Okay? When it is about breathing, then your practice is with the breathing, not others. I mean, the focus is the breathing. Okay? Knowing clearly and mindfully means knowing, we will discuss more. Knowing clearly means that the clarity should be there. And then knowing clearly from the very simple matter, it ranges from very simple matter. For example, we talk about breathe, right? So breathe in and breathe out, that is knowing. And knowing clear, when you say knowing clearly, then it goes deeper and deeper. In ultimate sense, the breathe is just a breathe, right? But breathe is not something you, okay? When you, so that is this knowing clearly is very important. So breathe is something happening. And breathe, you don't need to take it something as you, or breathe, you do not have the concept that breathes exist. Breathe is some sort of, you give the name breathe, right? You just name this mechanism, the breathe. It is not something that really existing. We will discuss it more. So knowing clearly is that. Okay, good point. So let's go to contemplation or the mindfulness of feeling. Okay, so I said this 4 pillars should be there. Diligence or dedication should be there, and knowing clearly and mindfulness should be there, and free from desire and discontent in the world. It means you are not practicing this mindfulness practice with expectation of any material gain or social respect, or you are practicing with sadness, with discontent. Okay, so these are the 4 pillars. Now let's go to this mindfulness of feeling or observing the feeling. So in the text it says, when feeling pleasant feeling, okay, he knows I feel pleasant feeling. Now you see what is mindfulness. Mindfulness doesn't mean you are paying attention. Anyone can pay attention. Even animals can pay attention, okay? There is some sort of attention there. It's okay. But mindfulness means you know, simply you know. So when you are having a pleasant feeling, then you know it is a pleasant feeling. For example, say you eat something very good and then you feel good. Then you simply, what you need to know, it doesn't mean that you are paying very much focus, attentive. No, it means here you just need to know, okay, this is pleasant feeling. Okay, and if you see something that is pleasant feeling, see something which is pleasant, then that is pleasant feeling. Okay, so we have got a definition here. Mindfulness means also knowing, pajanati. Okay, the Pali word. So when feeling pleasant feeling, he feels I feel pleasant feeling. When feeling unpleasant feeling, he knows I feel unpleasant feeling. He knows. When feeling neutral feeling, he knows I feel neutral feeling. Neutral means neither it is pleasant nor it is unpleasant. Something in the middle. Okay. So when feeling worldly pleasant feeling, I will explain this. What is worldly? Explain the worldly means. He knows I feel worldly pleasant feeling. When feeling unworldly pleasant feeling, I feel worldly sorry, there's a mistake. Unworldly pleasant feeling. So likewise, this is what it means. Worldly, unworldly. So wait. So first, the feeling, regard to the feeling, it means either it is physically feeling, okay, pain. You can say pain or non-pain, okay. So physically, if it is pain, then it is unpleasant feeling. And mentally, also there is pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral feeling, okay. And worldly, unworldly. So what is worldly? Worldly means all whatever you can take object by this sense, your sense doors, whatever relate to the sense doors, okay. Like you are eating, sleeping, or you're going, or you're seeing something, okay. These all are worldly. Unworldly means something more than that. So if it is worldly feeling, you know this is worldly feeling, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. And if it is unworldly feeling, you know it is pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, okay. And there is also, so unworldly means the dhyanas, the jhanas you received. Here you can see the first jhana, second jhana. It is the meditational stabilization. When you are in meditation, your concentration is so much sharp, and then you are having a pleasant feeling mentally. So this is called unworldly pleasant feeling. At the same time, you also have unworldly unpleasant feeling, okay. So when you are in these jhanas, you can also have unpleasant feeling. So that is why the Buddha practiced this. Buddha learned this from other teachers. These dhyanas are not the thing searched by the Buddha. Okay, so Buddha learned these dhyanas, and then Buddha found, okay, there is also unpleasant feeling. So unpleasant feeling in the sense that when you attain the first dhyana, you are not happy enough. You are not satisfied. So you are not satisfied means you are not pleasant. You need more. Okay. So likewise, you go to first, second, third, fourth, and then fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. Even if you attain to the eighth meditation stabilization, there is some sort of unpleasant feeling. It is because you are not satisfied. You want more. Okay. So is it clear now what is pleasant feeling and unpleasant feeling? Any question? Yeah, unpleasant. So by its very nature, it is pleasant feeling, and that is why they are so much attached to that pleasant feeling. These yogis do not want to come out of it. But the thing is that now, say for example, you are in the fourth jhana, say third jhana, okay, and you are having the meditation, and then you are not being able to reach to the fourth jhana, to have more pleasure. Then you have a unpleasant feeling because it is not satisfied. So Buddha was not satisfied with this because he found this is not the thing what I wanted, because there is still a gap there. Okay. Not necessarily. So this is basically um, these dhyanas were already there. So the Buddha learned from another master. Okay. So that is why so this is a very good question. On the one hand, it's a debatable. Some scholars argue that you need to have these dhyanas, but some scholars say that you don't need to have, because after all, you need to remember that these dhyanas are not the right concentration that you find uh, in the Eight Noble Path, sammā samadhi. Okay, because even if you attain first dhyana, second dhyana, no matter what, but if you are not having the right view, then you cannot attain the nirvana. So for attaining nirvana, what you need is the right view. We may discuss about what is right view a little later. Okay, so dhyana is another path. For example, you find the Devadatta is like a villain in a movie. Okay, so he tried to kill the Buddha. So you can see he's having a wrong view, right? He has an intention to kill the Buddha, and he tried for 3 times, but he has attained the dhyana, and he impressed the king then with his dhyanic attainment. So he has this meditational power. So meditation, this dhyana is not right view. It is not necessarily be based on the right view. So to have a right view, you don't need to have dhyanas, any dhyanas. Without any dhyanas, you can have the right view. So that is why it is not after 8, not necessarily, but if you have these 8 dhyanas, it is of course like being helpful to, you know, understand. I mean, after all, attaining nirvana is something that you understand that there is no such thing which is ultimately satisfactory, right? Impermanence is there also here. So at a, like, we can understand even 8 dhyana, okay, 8 these mental meditational stabilization is impermanent. So that can make you, you know, help you to attain the nirvana, to understand that. Okay, but we don't need to think that it is necessary to have these 8 dhyanas. Dhyanas, as far as I understand, is not necessary to attain the ultimate liberation. Okay. Yes. Definitely, definitely, still there. Uh, yes. So it is now you see the first, second, third, fourth dhyana is interpreted as rupa avachara dhyana, form rupa avachara. Yeah, form. What it is called? Rupa. Huh? Yeah. So yes. So in the 5, 6, 7, 8, they are formless meditational stabilization. So yeah, it means there are many theories saying that you are in the Brahma world, this and that, many things. So let's not go about it. And I don't have this knowledge about this. There's 8 dhyanas. Okay. 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 Then when you, so in the Satipatthana, refrain means repetition. So when you read the Satipatthana Sutta, for after the practice of end of the ease practice, you find this repetition. Okay. So now we just finished the Vedana, feeling, mindfulness of feeling. And then once you finish the mindfulness of feeling, then there is this paragraph. Okay. So refrain means repetition. So it says, thus he abides contemplating, observing the feeling in regard to the feeling, internally, externally, both internally and externally. It is very important what it is mean internally and externally. Internally means one's feeling. Externally means others' feeling. Okay. So you can see the scope of the mindfulness practice. Mindfulness practice does not only mean that you can practice about oneself. Of course, it is focused on oneself, but at the same time, you can also be mindful of others, mindful of others' feeling. And there is a importance of mindfulness of others' feeling. Now, what do you think? What is the importance of, you know, being able to feel others' feeling, or able to be mindful of others' feeling? Like, how do you see? There should be some importance, right? So when you say mindfulness, it encompasses a lot, like a big scope. Okay. Oh, who said that? Can you repeat? Yeah. Very good. Same thing. Yeah. So now we talk about mindful, this meditation practice, the compassion meditation practice, loving kindness meditation practice, right? Yes, you can sit and then you can, you know, spread your compassion to the world, right? But in the daily practice, compassion should something generate naturally, right? And then compassion is, let's say it is a positive emotion. So this positive emotion of compassion is generates naturally when you can feel, or when you can be mindful of others' feeling. Okay. So you can be mindful of your own feeling, then you can be compassionate to oneself. And you need to be, mindful of others' feeling, then so that you can be compassionate about others. So this is the practical usage of being mindful of feeling externally. Is that clear? Otherwise, then whatever the practice is being very natural. Otherwise, it is okay, it is good to practice the compassion meditation just sitting there. But in our daily life, in the real life situation, how the compassion naturally comes is by cultivating the mindfulness practice in regard to the feeling. Okay? Is that clear? And so internally, externally, and both internally and externally, you can, if you can feel someone is, if you see someone is hungry, and then you can feel, oh, this person should be like having unpleasant feeling. So you are mindful about the another's unpleasant feeling. Then the compassionate generates. Then you feel like to give some food to that person, right? And then you give it. Okay? And in the Satipatthana, the refrain, you find three parts. Does he abides, the first part, you can see the points there. Second and third, let's explain this together with the mind, okay? So far, okay? Yes. Other explanation. There are, but the commentarial explanation and some supporting commentarial experience, supporting to this notion is the thing what I just said. Internally, externally, there are other, especially these modern meditation masters, they tend to, some, okay, they would like to understand it as your feeling from inside and feeling from outside your body. There are such interpretation. But textually speaking, for what I just said, for that thing, you find the supporting references from the Nikaya itself. Okay? So it is, and it makes more sense. So that you can see the scope of the mindfulness practice. So whatever you can know, whatever your senses, including your mind, can reach. For example, mindfulness, the loving kindness meditation, right? It is, loving kindness meditation is something called unsurpassable. It means that there's no limit. Okay, so loving kindness meditation itself also can include it in the mindfulness practice. Okay, so the scope of mindfulness practice is also unlimited, right? Unlimited. So that is why it is good to understand internally, externally, as oneself and others. Is that clear? Okay. So let's go to the contemplation of mind. So mindfulness of feeling is done. So mindfulness of feelings basically means you are knowing what is pleasant, what is unpleasant, and what is neutral feeling. Okay, when you are having unpleasant feeling mentally or physically, it doesn't teach, the Satipatthana Sutta doesn't teach to control, try to, get over. Okay, what the Sutta teaches is to know, that's all. Okay, just to know it as it is. Okay, and there are more points, more facts to understand. So we will understand these refrain, the two more points of refrain together with the contemplation of mind. Okay, so contemplation of mind or observing mind, cittānupassanā. So when your mind is lustful, then he knows it is lustful. Okay, if his mind is without lust, he knows that is without lust. So likewise, if your mind is angry, without angry, deluded, without delusion, contracted or distracted, great or narrow, surpassable or unsurpassable, concentrated or unconcentrated, liberated or not liberated. So you just know that. So these are, I think, all together they should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 16, right? So 8 pair. 16, but you can think more now in modern psychology and in modern language, you have, in English language, you have more analysis of mind, like depression is there, stress is there, anxiety is there, right? So when you are having this, any sort of mental condition, it is, you just know it. Okay, this is, so for example, if you are having stress or anxiety, it is just a thing that, oh, this is stress, this is anxiety, just to know that. Okay, the sutta doesn't say to control this, or the sutta does not say this is good or bad. You don't need to judge good or bad. Okay, becoming non-judgmental, you just know this is this, this is that. Okay, like this. And the nature of the mind, or nature of these emotions, more you find the emotions, when you say mind, means the different kind of emotions and thought, roaming, the mind roams, right? It thinks a lot. So the nature of the mind is that when you are having emotion or thought, and then when you know, then it cools down. So that is the nature of the mind. Okay, so if you are having any some sort of this mental condition in your daily life, say stress, or say anxiety, say if you are being very joyful, too much elated, what you are supposed to do first is to know, okay, I'm being like too much elated. And then when you know it, then you become calm down. Okay, and then when you are like being very stressful or having some sort of depression or whatever, then when you know it, then it calms down. So this is the nature. So you see the suttas, there's one sutta called in Majjhima Nikaya Bhayabhairava Sutta. So Bhayabhairava Sutta, in the Buddha there talks about his experience before he becomes the Buddha. Okay, so that he talks about that when he was in the forest, the fear come in the forest. Even when the leaf drops, the fear comes. And then when he knows this fear, this is the fear, then it calms down, the fear goes away. So this is the nature of the mind. And then you can also actually observe it. If you are having any sort of feeling, unpleasant feeling, mental feeling, or any sort of mental, these emotions, okay, mind states, then you can just know and then see how it works. And another point is that when you say in Buddhism, in Pali, so feeling and the mind is different. Feeling means pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Okay, emotions are not feeling. Usually emotions are belonging to mind. If you are having any sort of emotion, that is not feeling. Okay, that is emotion. That belongs to the contemplation of mind. Okay. Yeah, so have you watched this cartoon movie? Yeah, it talks all about emotions, right? Yeah, good. Okay, so it says there's a sutta called Anangana Sutta. Overall, the sutta says having defilement is okay, but not knowing that is not okay may bring problems. Okay. So here we find a few technical terms: great, narrow, surpassable, unsurpassable, liberated, non-liberated. Great, narrow means those great means those dhyanas. Okay, dhyanas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dhyanas. So when you are having this this dhyanic attainment, and then the feeling, or when you are having the dhyanic attainment, you still need to know, okay, I am having this dhyanic attainment. Then it is in Buddhism, it is called great. Narrow means like in our daily life, okay, in our daily life, which are belonging to our sense doors. And then because of this sense door, emotions generate. Okay, because of seeing something, emotion generates. So these are called narrow. And surpassable, unsurpassable. Surpassable means if your mind is not related to these four things: loving kindness, compassion, or joy, okay, appreciative joy, or equanimity. If you are not having this, then it is surpassable. It is unsurpassable is because you can spread metta, karuna, mudita, upekha unsurpassably. So that is why it is called unsurpassable. And liberated, unliberated means when your mind is liberated, means free of defilement. In your daily life, you have the free of defilement, right? And then you should know, okay, this is liberated, this is unliberated. And if it is with defilement, then you can think not liberated. Sometimes it is also the way that you are conceptually bound to some object, or conceptually not free. You think, you have a certain view. So when you are having a certain view and you are bound that things exist, then it is not liberated. Okay, it means you are not independent. We will talk about it later, this view and then binding. It all comes in this mindfulness practice. So now, does he, again this refrain comes, okay? Does he abides contemplating, observing the mind in regard to mind, internally, externally, both internally and externally? So again, internally, externally. Internally means one's mind. Externally means others' mind. Okay? So again, it covers the big scope of the mindfulness practice. Okay? And now you see the Buddha, okay? It is in text we find when the Buddha sees someone from far away approaching the Buddha, then Buddha already knows what he's having in his mind. Okay? What he's having in the mind. So that is called the knowledge of knowing others. Some may think that this is a magic things, very magical things, but it is actually not magical. So Buddha's mindfulness practice is like, mindfulness is so sharp, so that when the Buddha sees someone's face or someone start to speaking, or even from far away, he already know what he is going to speak, what he is having in the mind. It is some sort of, common sense. Yeah. So in common sense, if we associate a person and listening to his some thoughts and then what he speaks, his behavior, you can understand what he is thinking, what kind of emotion he is having, right? So if you see persons is like, a little down mood, you can see, or this person is having a little, mind. You can be mindful of his mind, not happy, right? So this is externally being mindful. So this is a very important practice. When you have this mindfulness of mind, so first you practice your mind about mind, the emotion, okay? To observe your mind, to understand your mind, right? And then if you can understand your mind, then actually it is very difficult to be cheated, because you are like extra sensitive. When someone speaks with you, you can know, okay, this guy is, somehow trying to deceive me, right? So mindfulness of mind externally that is how it is important. So in Buddhism, you talk about reading others' mind. Parachitta vijanana jnana. The knowledge of knowing others' mind is not something magical. It is a result of practicing the mindfulness of mind. Okay. So any questions so far? Okay. So the reference now, the another point, which is very important. Now you see, so he abides contemplating or observing the nature of arising of mind, the nature of passing away of mind, and both arising and passing away of mind. So earlier we show you, now you need to, now this is she asked me she asked me about the knowing clearly, right? Now this is about knowing clearly, okay? So in the Satipatthana practice, what it is important is, not to suppress or to control or, purify. You cannot purify your mind. Don't try to purify your mind. Try to understand, knowing clearly, okay? Try to understand. So observing the nature of arising and passing away, nature of arising. So let's say, for example, stress come, let it come, observe it, see how it comes, okay? The nature of arising of mind, and let it come, let it go, okay? So emotions or thoughts or these mental conditions has a nature of arising and nature of passing away. So in very technical term, this is talking about the impermanence. The problem is that we are, we have this habit of having the permanence ideation, or ideation of permanence. Okay. So for example, if you are having stress, then we have a habit to think that this stress is something permanent. It's just existing there. It is there. So you think stress, 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 right? But we don't have a habit of, seeing the stress comes and stress goes down. Stress comes and it disappears. We don't have habit of observing the mind. So when you have this this ideation of permanence, I will say ideation, it is not a thought, okay? You have that ideation. So when you have this permanence of ideation, then the suffering exists. Samsara then exists. Okay, suffering exists because you think this is, because you have the ideation that this is going to exist forever, right? Or say, for example, you are having a joyful time. You receive, say, all of you receive the highest grade, and then you feel very happy. And then for a moment you are having, we have the ideation that this kind of feeling or this kind of mind, okay, joyful feeling is permanent. But it is not permanent. After a while, it loses, it disappears. And then you are not happy. Oh, this disappears, but I wanted to have this joyful feeling forever, right? So the problem is the ideation of permanence. So now what it is saying, what it is teaching is, okay, the emotions comes, maybe it is joyful, maybe it is suffering or depression, whatever. Let it come and let it go. See the nature of arising. That is the nature. So see the nature of the mind. Okay, observe the nature of the mind, understand the mind. Okay, so that is what it says. The sutta doesn't say if you are having some sort of depression or if you are having any kind of unwholesome mind, do not try to purify it. Do not try to clean the mind. It is impossible. What you can do is to understand your mind. Does that make sense? So the nature of arising of mind, the nature of passing away of mind, how it arises, how it goes, not controlling. The sun rises, the sun sets, and with some causes and conditions, when are there, rain comes, typhoon comes in some places, tornado comes, earthquake comes, right? You cannot control them. What you can do is to know that and then be protected. The same way, stress comes, stress goes, anxiety comes, anxiety goes, okay? Because of causes and conditions, different mental conditions come, and what you are supposed to do is to let it come and let it go, and just to observe and then be protected, or just let it come and let it go. That is the nature of the mind, just like the nature of the nature, right? So the theory in the Samyutta Nikaya, what the Buddha says is, Yankinchi samudaya dhammang, sabbang tang nirodha dhammang. This is the theory. Whatever is subject to origination, all that is subject to cessation. Okay? So that is the theory. So this is the second point of the Satipatthana refrain. Any question? Is that clear? No question? Okay, now we will move to deeper level, knowing clearly and mindfully, okay? So Satipatthana means what? The first point is that you need to know it, just to know it, okay? Not paying attention. And because when you pay attention, when you concentrate, then you feel tired. But it's just know it. And then if you feel tired, you don't want to know it, then just leave it. You don't need to be mindful all the time. Then that is also mindful. So for example, when you are not being mindful, okay, you don't want to be mindful, but you can be mindful that you are not mindful. Then that also comes into the mindfulness practice. Okay. So Satipatthana, friend, the third point. So mindfulness that there is mind. Okay, there is when it is, the term is mind. So all the emotions, thoughts included there. Okay. So mindfulness that there is mind is established in him to the extent necessary for bare knowledge and continuous mindfulness practice. Okay. Jnanamattaya, patisatimattaya. Okay. So now the thing is that we, as I earlier said, we think that we have this habit of having an ideation of permanence. Okay. Say, for example, depression. Oh, depression is there. Now we started practicing, oh, depression is coming, depression is there, depression. Okay. That is okay. It is going to give you some relief. But after a while, it is going to come because you have an ideation of permanence. You think that exists. Depression exists. Okay. So now you are going to know more clearly and clearly. Okay. So the thing is that you need to know, okay, mind, there is mind, this is mental state, this is emotion, just for the knowledge, just for knowing it. Okay, just for knowing. Don't think that it exists. Don't think that whatever the mental condition you are having is you. Okay, that is me. No. What it is necessary, what the sutta teaches is just for knowing and just for continuous practice. You say, oh, this is depression. And then it is just like, let it come and let it go. Because if you have a ideation that, okay, this exists, the problem is, then you have the ideation of permanence. When you are having the ideation of permanence, then you have suffering, right? So you do not think that it is existing. So we have that habit. So let it come, let it go. Secondly, just for a knowledge, we have put the name, okay, in the modern, we have this, in early time, there is no, the term for depression. In Pali, you don't find. You find different kind of suffering, but depression, anxiety, you do not find the exact corresponding Pali term. Okay, so depression or whatever, you need to think that causally, depending on the cause and condition this arise, that's all. Is that clear? That's all. It's just a happening. It's just an occurrence. Okay, because there is causes and there's condition and there's some sort of mental condition there, and then we put the name depression, we put the name stress, we put the name elation, we put the name joyful. Just the name we put. You don't need to attach to this thing as existing, as a existing thing. Does that make sense? Okay, so the third point, what it says, that there is a mind, there is a depression, there is a stress, there is a craving. You think that just for a knowing and just for a continuous practice. Okay, and then he abides independent, unbound, not clinging to anything in the world. It means not being attached to the concepts. Okay, it means now he abides independent. You are not attached to the concept of say any kind of mental state, depression. Okay, you are not attached that it exists. Okay, you are not attached to that concept. Not clinging to anything in the world means you are not attached to the concepts. You are not clinging to that concepts. Is that clear? So this is the very popular, not very popular, this is the usual example given by Venerable, right? What is this? Forest, right? But ultimately speaking, what do you find there in the forest? You say it forest because there are trees, a lot of trees, right? You just see the trees, a lot of trees there. It's not a forest, isn't it? It's a trees. So now you know there is no forest. There's only trees, right? So now if I ask, if there is no forest, then can you say that forest arises? Forest comes to be? So there is no question about forest arise. Forest is the name you give to this bunch of trees, right? So if there is no arising of forest, can there be a cessation of forest? No, there cannot be cessation of the forest, right? So likewise, causally, because of causes and conditions, different kind of physical or mental thing arises. Breathing is also one thing. The body is also one thing. Different mental state is also one thing. So they arises and then they goes away. Okay, there's no thing that you can grasp that it permanently exists, right? So mental condition, stress, depression, or whatever. Okay, the thing what it is saying is that you do not need to take it as existing forever. It is existing. Ultimately speaking, it does not exist. Okay, they are causally or they are conditionally arisen, or they are some sort of occurrence happening only. That's all. Is that clear? So this is the third point. Okay, and now you see hetu, this is the theory, hetu paticca sambhutang, hetu bhanga nirujjati. Whatever phenomena arisen out of causes and conditions, upon their cessation, phenomena cease. Okay, so whatever mental condition you are having, it has some causes and condition. When there is causes and condition, the different kind of mental condition is there according to the causes and condition. And then when there is no causes and conditions, then whatever you are having is no more there. So that is the theory. So if you are having any sort of mental condition, say stress or whatever, okay? So because causes and conditions are there, so it comes. And when the causes and conditions are not there, it just fade away. So let it come, let it go. And then you see the arising of these causes and conditions. You see the nature of arising of this mental state and the nature of passing away of this mental state, right? So that is what you are supposed to observe. That's all. Okay. But habitually we are because of from the very childhood, or we can even say that from our past birth, we tend to take it as me, I, okay? Whatever these conditions, you take it as permanently existing, okay? And then you take it as me. Say, for example, you take a stress, you take a depression, or it's like me. And then when you are having this me, then there's a suffering. When you are having this kind of thought, the ideation, okay, then you are having suffering. So yadanatta tam netam mama neso hamasmi neso me atta. So this which is without self, this is not mine. I am not this. This is not myself. So causes and conditions are there. So it arises, and together with the cessation of the causes and the mental states, they fades away. That's all. It is not you. Is that clear so far? Any question? No? Very clear? Okay, so mindfulness of mind is done. What is the time now? 7:33. Okay, now we go back to mindfulness of body. Because there are some so breathing, let's just skip it, okay? And yeah, just skip it. Skip the breathing. This one, okay? So Buddha is someone that he finds something, he practices something, he investigates, he observes something, and then if he find it is benefit, then he says that, okay? So for example, once the Buddha says, before my awakening, so this is talking about the breathing meditation. So overall, Buddha says that, okay, I did this breathing meditation and it is helpful. It is good to practice. So therefore, you can also practice it. So that is what the Buddha said here. So it says, before my awakening, it means before being the Buddha, when I was still unawakened but intent to awakening, I too usually practice this kind of meditation. And while I was usually practicing this kind of meditation, neither my body nor my eyes become fatigued. And my mind was free from defilements by not grasping. So Buddha said that breathing meditation for him was very, very beneficial. It is calming him. So he said, you can also practice. That's all, okay? So let's leave it. So okay. So in the breathing meditation, you find these two words. See the number 3. He trains, thus I shall breathe in, experience the whole body. I shall breathe out, experiencing the whole body. He trains, thus I shall breathing in, calming the body formation. I shall breathing out, calming the body formation, right? So sabbakaya, or whole body, in the commentaries you find two kind of explanations. One thing, it is the entire physical body, okay, this body, okay? And the another is the body of breathe. When you are breathing, you just feel the breathe body, okay? So that is another explanation. And body formation means in breathe and out breathe, that is body formation. And another explanation is that when you are doing breathing meditation, you will feel your whole body very calm. Because of the having a good posture, you feel the whole body very calmed. Okay, so breathing meditation, and you see it's like a deaf carpenter or carpenter's apprentice. When making deep cut, they know I'm making a deep cut, and when making a shallow cut, they know I'm making a shallow cut. So it's like this. So when you are breathing, it is deep breathe, then you know it is deep breathe, and when it is short breathe, then you know it is short breathe. So as said before, it is just knowing. Okay, it is just knowing. And the Satipatthana reference. For this, I think there's no need to go deeper. to explain, because we already have said, just like the mind, you do not think there is some sort the mind existing. Okay, same, you do not think that breed is something existing. That's all. Breed is also just I remember Venerable, when he is talking about the breathing meditation, he said observe as a third person. Remember, observe at a third person. You are paying focus here on your forehead, and then you are knowing your breathing in and out, right? And then third person, it's not breathing, is not me, it is something happening. That's all you are going to observe. Something happening, it's just a happening. Okay, it's a physical condition there. Because you are alive, then breathe is going out, going in and out. So that's all. Okay, and then internally, externally is the same. In different condition, you will need to know other is breathing. Okay, for example, if you are a counselor, or say you are a doctor, so you need to be mindful of others breathing also, right? So this also say the scope of the mindfulness practice. Okay, and the nature of arising of body means the breath here, and nature of arising of passing away. And then mindfulness, that there is body established in him to extent necessary for bare knowledge, only for knowledge and continuous mindfulness practice. Okay, hereby it's independent. It means he is not attached to this concept that breathe exists. That is a name given only, that's all. And that is some kind of mechanism, physical. Okay, some sort of causally, when there's causes and conditions, when you are alive, that is happening, that's all. You like or not like, it's just happening. Just like you like or not like, because when their causes and conditions are there, the different kind of mental state is there. You like or not like, sun rises. You like or not like, rains, there is rain, there is typhoon. That's all. Okay, so contemplation of body. Any questions so far? Okay. So now, so we talked about the feeling, we talked about the mind, about being mindful of feeling, mindful of what? Mind, and now body. So body, there is one part is called posture. Okay. So again, monks, when walking, he knows I'm walking. And when standing, he knows he is standing. And when it is sitting, he knows he is sitting. And when you are lying down, he knows lying down. Okay. So whatever posture is his body, then he knows it. That's all. Okay. Thus he abides contemplating the body, contemplating or observing the body in regard to the same refrain. So contemplation of body, number 3. Okay, these activities. Again, monks, when going forward and returning, he acts clearly knowing. Okay. When looking ahead and looking away, when flexing and extending his limbs, when wearing his robe, when carrying his outer robe and ball, when eating, drinking, testing, when defecating and urinating, when walking, when standing, when falling asleep, when walking up, when talking, when keeping silence. It means 24 hours is mindfulness practice. Your daily life is the mindfulness practice. Your daily life, you spend your daily life, 24 hours is your mindfulness practice, even when falling asleep. So when falling asleep means, that is why we need to understand mindfulness practice does not mean paying attention. Okay. Otherwise, if paying attention, if you pay attention in when falling asleep, then you will not sleep. You will just, oh, I'm falling asleep, then you get up. And then you are going to fall asleep and you get up again. Okay. So attention is not, mindfulness is not paying attention. Okay. So when falling asleep. So mindful sleeping means being aware how much sleep we need, or being aware of what time you need to sleep, so that it is good for your body and your mind, right? And you know what is the proper posture when you are sleeping. That is why, giving a rest. That's all. And when you are having mindfulness practice, when you are sleeping, you can have a very good sleep too. It is not a, again, it is, you just know that you are giving a rest to the body. Okay. Now when you talk about a posture, how the Buddha sleeps, in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta it mentions this. And then the Buddha laid down in the lion's posture, means like this. Okay. On the right side, placing on foot on top of the other, mindful and aware, and focused on the time of getting up. So like you know what time to get up. So this is the thing mindfulness of sleeping means, okay? And falling asleep with mindfulness will help to good quality of sleep, comfortable wake up, prevents from seeing bad dreams and nocturnal emissions. So this is mindfulness of being mindful when you are sleeping, okay? Any questions? So it is clear? So mindfulness, basically what it says that you find other references also. When you are practicing mindfulness when you are sleeping, then you can have good sleep. For example, let's say you have a very narrow bed, okay? And then you can sleep with mindfulness. You can have a good sleep and you are not going to fall from the bed. So it is because you are somehow being mindful. There's that this bed is small. And you are having a good sleep, good quality of sleep. And then there are some people who do not need alarm. It means the practitioners, okay? So they have that in practice. They know what time to get up and they exactly get up at the same time, the time that they want to. So this is something mindfulness of sleeping. You can try. Okay, now contemplation of body, number 4, okay? So in the Satipatthana Sutta, one thing you find is that the body, contemplation of body is very long, quite long, okay? So it tries to cover everything, to whatever is relevant to the body, okay? So anatomical parts. Now it says, among examined his own body. Now you see the nature of the body, okay? Up from the soles of the feet and down from the tips of the hairs, wrapped in skin and full of many kinds of fleet. In this body there is head, hair, body hair, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, bone marrow, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, lungs, intestines, mesentery, undigested food, feces, bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, grease, saliva, snorts, synovial fluid, urine, etc. Very disgusting. It is your body, okay? So, but you need to remember that it is you observe that you know, okay, here also, okay, examine. So it doesn't mean that you need to feel very disgusting, okay? Now the Buddha says that this is your body, that's all. Then you don't need to think it's disgusting, okay? It can lead to loathing and repugnance and you need to be aware of it. It is a part of your body, no matter you like or dislike, okay? So you see, Analayo mentions that loathing one's own body or that of other is only an expression of frustrated desires and does not correspond to the calming of desire intended by the exercise. Just you need to remember that. Okay? So remember there is a 4 pillars. One pillar is you need to be from discontent. Okay? You need to be free from unhappiness. When when the Satipatthana or mindfulness is in practice, you need to be a joyful, happy. Okay, but if you practice in a wrong way and then you see and then you produce some kind of repugnance, loathing, then that is wrong. You need to calm down. You need to just say that it's the nature of body. It's fine. Let it be, right? So if you, and in any way, if you are producing this kind of loathing and repugnance, then it is becoming this sort of discontent, right? You are having discontent when you are feeling, then it is not a mindfulness practice. At least it is not Buddhist mindfulness practice, okay? So if it is, when you see or when you think of it, when you examine of it, then, and if you feel it is disgusting, then just don't do that, okay? Because you see, now with this simile, we can see that the purpose is not to let you feel disgusting or repugnance, loathing, okay? That is not the purpose. And with this example, it is clear. You see, it is like, it's as if there were a bag and with opening at both ends, filled with various kind of grains such as fine rice, wheat, mung beans, peas, sesame, and ordinary rice, and someone with good eyesight were to open it and examine the contents. Okay, these grains are fine rice, these are wheat, these are mung beans, these are peas, these are sesame, and these are ordinary rice. Like this, just to know it, that's all, okay? So now this purpose you can see in many ways. One thing is that if you are like too much attached with the body, okay, the body is like this, there's nothing to attach. Everybody has this body, right? And then secondly, then all hold such a body, okay? Therefore, it serves in a particular as a countermeasure to conceit. Now, if you are, because of body, if you are being very proud, say if you are very beautiful, very handsome, very tall, very, beautiful hair, and whatever, okay? And then if you feel proud, no, don't feel that. You don't need to feel that. After all, we all are having the same kind of body, right? And and sometimes the thing is that we habitually compare body or mind. You say his body is beautiful, he looks more handsome, she looks more beautiful, I am less, right? So you have kind of inferior feeling, or you have some sort of superior feeling, or you compare and then you say, okay, I am equal. So comparing in this way is considered as conceit, okay? If you feel you are inferior, that is unwholesome. If you feel you are superior, that is also unwholesome. If you feel you are equal, you are equalizing, you are comparing and equalizing, I'm equal to her, him, that is also unwholesome. Okay? So if you feel I am superior, then actually everybody is superior. If you feel I'm inferior, then everybody is inferior. If someone if you see someone and then seeing the body, if you see that, okay, she is inferior, then everybody is inferior. Okay? Okay. So, and also it is getting old, like the body is like that, right? Okay. So far, any questions? No questions. So now contemplation of body, number 5, elements, okay? So furthermore, amongst examine their own body, whatever its placement or posture, according to the elements in the body, there is the earth element, the water element, the fire element, and the air element, okay? So the elements are there. And it is just like, it's as if a deaf butcher or butcher's apprentice were to kill a cow and sit down at a crossroad with the meat cut into portion. Now, the body is having these elements. So just to know that when you are examining the body, when it is about the body, okay? Okay, now body contemplation of 6, this is interesting. So corpse in decay. Now, number 1. So this is, you need to understand it very carefully, because you are not understanding it very carefully, and misunderstanding, the problems occurs. Because I have read these reviews of these meditation centers, okay? And then they have written very bad review. The reviews are reasonable, but some meditation centers somehow not understanding it well. So let's see this. Now it says, suppose a monk were to see a corpse, means a dead body, okay, discarded in a charnel ground, and it had been dead for 1, 2, or 3 days, bloated, livid, and festering. And he were to see a corpse discarded in a charnel ground, being devoured by crows, hawks, vultures, the second day, okay? No, second matter. Herons, dogs, jackals, and many kind of little creatures. He were to see a corpse discarded in a charnel ground, a skeleton with flesh and body held together by sinews. Number 4, a skeleton without flesh but smeared with blood and held together by sinews. A skeleton rid of flesh and blood, held together by sinews. Bones rid of sinews, scattered in every direction. Here a hand bone, there a foot bone, see, scattered. The bones are scattered. Here is a shin bone, there is a thigh bone, here a hip bone, there a rib bone, here a backbone, here an arm bone, here a neck bone, like this, okay? Number 7, white bones, the color of shells. And then 8, stripped bones, heaped in a pile, and bones rotted and crumbled to powder, okay? So they would compare it with their own body. The body is also that same nature, that same kind, and cannot go beyond that. In sum, This is what it is saying. Okay, then you find this kind of pictures, illustrated, this whatever is saying. So there's no problem in illustrating. But there is one thing we need to see very carefully, and it is overlooked, and it is not cared much. Okay, it is the first line. Suppose a monk were to see. It means if you see, okay, sayatha bhikkhave sayathapi passeyam. If you see, because in this ancient India, at the time of the Buddha, there are some places where the bodies are just thrown. Okay, and then when you see, if you see the what this mean indicates is, when you see this body, okay, do not get disturbed. Okay, do not get troubled. This is the nature of the body. That is what it means. Doesn't mean that you need to go through the internet and then see and then see and then contemplate. Okay, it is not the case. You don't need to do that. And say like this world is very kind of, we cannot predict, right? Ruppatiti rupa, sorry, ruppatiti rupang means ludzati paludzatiti lokang. So what is the definition for the world in Buddhism is that it is, it is just, getting decayed. And then no, you cannot say if in one place there is a flood, in another place there is a volcano, in another place there is a tornado, in another place there is a typhoon, and another place there is an earthquake, this and that. Ludzati, paludzati means like it's breaking, like this, right? And it is possible that on the top you have war, right? So it is possible that you can see these kind of conditions. And when you are seeing these kind of conditions, these things, do not get disturbed. Okay, so okay, fine. This is the part of the life. This is the same thing happens if you die, right? And then if your body is thrown away. This is what it means, okay? So we need to focus this. Suppose a monk were to see. It means if you see. Doesn't mean that go and see, okay? And based on this thing, there are reviews are there. Reviews on these meditation centers, traditional meditation centers, that people get disturbed after, just seeing one thing. And then when you are seeing one thing, when you are sleeping, it comes, okay? And then you cannot live a peaceful life because of this contemplating on this, okay? So people get depressed by seeing this. So we need to know that theory. Remember that theory in discontent. You cannot feel discontent. When the Satipatthana is in practice, you need to feel content. You need to feel fresh. You need to feel you are, being protected, okay? Feel more stronger. So when you practice this kind of thing, you become more stronger. So in case if you see any kind of thing, you are not shaken, you are not shivered. Your mind is stable, stronger, okay? So this is what it is mean. Okay? Does that make sense? Any questions? Okay, so if you do not see, it's fine, okay? You don't need to search for it. And again, this Satipatthana refrain, okay? So exactly, so when different kind of the physical conditions are there, and you just see them, you just know them internally, externally, my body is like that, others' body is like that, it's okay, we are all the same, okay? And the nature of rising of the physical body, nature of passing away, okay? That is the nature. And the body, the last and then very, deeper meaning is that you just have this notion of body is just for a continuous practice and was just for knowing that purpose, not thinking that it really exists, okay? It is something what you find in the Mahayana teaching. Actually, the Mahayana teaching is here. So if someone wants to write this about this say emptiness practice, so emptiness, the concept of emptiness in Mahayana, in the Satipatthana Sutta, yeah, this is a very good reference. You see, okay, in how you find the emptiness teaching in the Satipatthana Sutta. It is this. So not clinging to anything in the world. Say just just for knowing and just for continuous practice. That's all. There is no such thing that really exists. Okay. So now this kind of, when you, this kind of practice, what is the benefit you can find? It's the counteract conceit. Just like I earlier said, okay, everybody's body is like that, okay? So there's nothing to be proud of the body, or there's nothing that you need to feel inferior about yourself. So in the Dhammapada, it says, having pride in youth, wealth, and sons, okay, sons means your children, ultimately proves futile. So the full things, okay, I have sons, I have wealth, okay, he thinks about sons, he thinks about wealth, and indeed when he himself is not his own, whence are sons, whence is wealth, where is sons, when well is where? Actually, you even don't have yourself. See at the body, right? There's nothing to be proud. It's if you are feeling proud of your body, of your wealth, of your children, right? Actually, then the Buddha says you are foolish. Okay? And then realize the inevitability of the death. Okay, so that is very important. So that is there, okay? One needs to contemplate that even the next mouthful to be eaten and next breath to be inhaled are not certain to take place. See, the death is like this. So recollection of death prepares for one's mindful death. So we all need is the mindful death, not the mindless death, right? So mindful death is good to have, as the Buddha says. Okay. Any questions so far? No? Okay, let's have a little break. Okay. Okay. So where I was? Yeah, yeah, free from desire and discontent in the world. Discontent means you cannot be discontent. Huh? You cannot have sad-mindedness. You cannot have sad-mindedness when you are practicing mindfulness. Rather, you need to feel joyful. You need to feel refreshed. You need to feel energetic. If you are like being lazy, and if you start practicing mindfulness, you need to feel, the laziness should go away. The whole day should be refreshed. And then no matter what is happening in the world, you are not shaken. You are not troubled by that. You are not disturbed by that. Okay? So mindfulness practice is like that. It shouldn't be disturbed. It shouldn't disturb you. Is that clear? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So feeling, as said before, is actually when you just see it's a little pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Either it is physical, it is either or it is mental. Either it is worldly or it is unworldly. Okay. And then this is either it is connected with, say, mind or body. Okay. And when you are, say, you are looking at this corpse, these bodies or dead bodies, okay, then you feel sad. Then you feel sad. Feel is the feeling, mindfulness of feeling. Okay. Say you see a beautiful body and then you feel so happy, pleasant. That is mindfulness of feeling. Okay. If you see what? Worry. Then worry is emotion, right? Then it is mindfulness of mind. Yeah. But together with this emotion, worry, you feel not happy. Then you can think, this is unpleasant feeling. Feeling and mind, it is okay. Then you can just say that, okay, this is fear. In English, you can just say that, this is worry. You don't need to actually in real practice. If you just know it, that's fine. Something, if it is like feeling unpleasant, you just know it's unpleasant. And then you do not need to actually say, this is mine, this is mine. I mean, after all, you are labeling, right? After all, they are just names, isn't it? Yeah. So this mindfulness of mind is something like emotions are mind in Buddhism. Worry is some sort of emotion. And then because of worry, you have unpleasant feeling. Okay. Stress is an emotion. And stress usually is making you unpleasant. And that is feeling. Happy? Happy is an emotion, right? Feels, for example, uh, you you receive a cheesecake. You receive a cheesecake and then you feel happy. Okay, so it is kind of emotion, and yes, it's connected with pleasant feeling. Then you say that emotion or mind with a pleasant feeling. You can say that. Okay, you see something, you hear a music, and then you feel happy. So if it is you are feeling happy, you are feeling elated, you're feeling like so pleasant. Yeah, this is the English. The problem is the English and then Pali. Okay, so emotion, some sort of emotion, you just know it as an emotion, feeling plus pleasant. And if it is like feeling, then you just say it is a feeling, kind of feeling pleasant or unpleasant. That's all. It's yes, it is somehow not so clear cut because of the language. But if you think in a very Pali way, then you can see, because this you do not say it as emotion, sorry, feeling for this unpleasant things. Sorry, these feeling things. So for example, you say you have anger, right? In English, we say you feel anger. But in Pali, you don't say I feel anger. You just say I get angry. Angry. This is angry. Okay? Okay. So anger is basically based on unpleasant feeling. Based on unpleasant feeling. Yeah, so this is a problem of language. Anyhow, you don't need to make it as a, after all, these are our names, right? Names. And then after all, as I said, it is like ultimately not existing. But you need to be a little careful when you say not existing. We will discuss about this now. Okay. Next, when we talk about the mindfulness of Dhamma. Wait. Sorry. Okay. So now, contemplation of Dhamma, 5 hindrances. I think you already have learned this in the early Buddhism class. Yes? Already, yes? Okay, I will go very quickly, okay? So here amongst abides contemplating or observing Dhammas. Dhammas has got very, many meanings. Dhammas is phenomena, things. Dhamma also means the teaching, okay? So usually when it is in plural form, Dhammas, it means phenomena, the things, okay? So mental things or physical things, Dhammas, okay? In regard to the Dhammas, he abides contemplating Dhammas in regard to Dhammas with respect to the 5 hindrances. So now you see these are also somehow related to your mind. Okay, actually everything is related to the mind. When you talk about these physical things, okay, they are centered to the mind. That is why the mindfulness of mind is so much important. Because after all, what you need to know is your mind, right? To understand is what you need to understand is your mind in Buddhism. Talking about the mind. So that is why I started from vedanānupassanā, from feeling, and then from the mind. Okay. So how a monks abide contemplate. Yeah. So it's when a monk who has sensual desire, or you can say kamachanda is like sensual desire. You can translate it as mm, attachment to the sensual desire. Okay, or attachment to the sensual pleasure. In him, he knows I have sensual desire in me. So when sensual desire isn't present, he knows sensual desire is not present in me. He knows how unarisen sensual desire can arise, how arisen sensual desire can be removed, and how sensual desire can be prevented from arising in future. So these 5 hindrances, you need to know that they are distracting factors, unwholesome. Okay. So basically when you are doing meditation, especially when you are doing dhyanas, okay, practicing dhyanas. Let me just make you clarify you that Satipatthana, mindfulness is not dhyana, okay? That is why I do not prefer to say mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness is a bhavana. Satipatthana, we call it Satipatthana bhavana. Mindfulness is cultivation. Mindfulness is something that you need to develop in your daily life. Okay. So you sit and then you see your breathe and then you attain first jhana, you develop your concentration. That is meditation. Okay. Is that clear? So mindfulness is what? Cultivation, bhavana. You don't say mindfulness, satipatthana jhana. No, there is no such thing, satipatthana jhana or satipatthana dhyana. Okay. So in that sense, I would prefer to call mindfulness cultivation or mindfulness development. Is that clear? So these 5 hindrances are important when you are cultivating or when you are practicing dhyanas, even when you are studying, because these are distracting factors in your daily life. When you are having sensual desire, actually attachment to the sensual desire, then it is somehow distracting to you. Okay, distracting in your work. And the second is aversion. When you have aversion, you need to know I have aversion, the arising of aversion or anger. This is also distracting you. And sloth and torpor means your laziness. And the fourth is restlessness and worry. And then the doubt. Doubt means the doubt in the doctrinal thing. Doubt in the Buddha or Dhamma or Sangha, like this. Okay, doubt actually means. So when you are having these hindrances, they are actually distracting you, no matter dhyana or no matter in any kind of work, study. So these are distracting factors, and they are to be abandoned. Okay. So it is something like this. Now you need to you practice meditation or you cultivate Satipatthana practice is to see something clear, right? To see your mind clearly, to understand your mind clearly. Now sensual desire is like colorful water. See, when you're in the colorful water, you cannot see the clear water, right? So sensual desire is like that. Aversion is like boiling water. So when it is boiling water, you cannot see the water, clear water, right? And then the sloth and torpor is like this, these green things. What do you call it? Anyone knows in English? Huh? Spawn. Okay, spawn. Okay, so these green things, okay? So you cannot see the water there because it's dirty. Restlessness and worry is something like, these waves. When there's waves, it means you are so restless, you are so worried. Your mind is not clear, okay? And your mind is not clear then because of something, say you have a heavy schedule, you have a lot of things to do, and then you are so restless, your mind is unclear, you are so worried. So when you are having this, you are distracted, you cannot see things clear then. And doubt is like muddy water, okay? Muddy water, you cannot see, a lot of doubts. So like basically when you are having five hindrances, so it is like distracting factors. And so in text, you can find these remedies there. So when you are having sensual desire, you can become mindful of one's own desire and, be careful about your food, what you eat, and then sense restraint, okay? And aversion, usually you find mindfulness of aversion, you need to know it, and developing loving kindness. It is something like, opposite things. When you are having anger, you just do something, opposite things, having a loving kindness. Okay? It is something like, have you ever heard this? Hatred is not seized by hatred. Hatred is seized by love. Okay? So like that. And sloth and torpor. When you are having this laziness, then it is a sign of light. You can get rid of it. But sloth and torpor, like sometimes you are very tired, right? And then you feel not energetic, right? Then it is not sloth and torpor. Then you need rest, okay? So do not be confused. And but if you are still like laziness for something, then because maybe sign of light would be good, and change meditation subject would be good. Reciting, singing would be good sometime. Pull one's ear may be good. I don't know. And massage body may be good. Walk, do some sports, right? These are I'm adding, okay? So whatever you see this in the text, okay? And then singing things that is added by me. Yeah? Walk, wash eyes, look at the sky. You find this in the text, okay? So restlessness and worry. If you are having that, then like okay, calm down, sit properly, and then just watch your breath for a moment. So mindfulness breathing, and trace back why having worry and restless, because a lot of things going in your mind, and then just see what is the reason of restlessness, what is the reason of worrying. Okay, so trace back. That is the thing. There is a Jataka story called Daddaba Jataka. So it is about there is a so the rabbit is sitting under a apple tree, apple or mango, I'm not sure, okay? Anyhow, a fruit there, and then suddenly the apple or mango drops from the tree, and then the rabbit wakes up, And then, not like Newton, okay? The rabbit then gets scared of it because he hear the sound is like daddaba, dub, dub, like this, right? So that is why it is called daddaba jataka, the sound. So he hears this sound and then he started running away, saying that this is the, big things happen in the earth. He hear this kind of earthquake or, fall of, what do you call it? This astronaut or something, okay? And then he started running. And then on his way, the other animals, the deer meets, and deer say, why are you running? I heard there's a, big sound. There's a, no, he says something like something wrong thing happened. I heard it. So I'm running. So he started, then deer also run. Oh, the world is destroying. The destruction of the world is there. And then likewise, many animals join him. All are running. Okay. And then finally the lion. So lion see this, all animals are running and then ask, what is the problem? I'm running because the this deer is running and then elephant, this and that. And finally he goes to the rabbit and asks, why are you running? Then he asks, because there was a, war, some kind of destruction of the world. Why do you say destruction of the world? Because I heard this big sound. Where? Under the apple tree. Okay, then the lion is very wise person, animal. So he just, first he asked from the animal to animal to animal, and finally he asked from the rabbit, and then rabbit says the detail, and then he go and check, and then he see apple. So then he find out, okay, the case is the apple, not volcano or destruction of the world, whatever. So likewise, if you have like any worry and this kind of, restlessness, so you trace back the things, and then finally you will find, okay, there's nothing to worry. It's okay. When you see the reasons like this, okay. So in there's a one sutta called, no, that is not relevant. Anyhow, it is something like that, okay. And doubt and uncertainty. If you are having any uncertainty, doubt about the Dharma, then what you are supposed to do is this investigation to find it. It is not that if you are having doubt, you are not caring about it. So you need to make it clear. If you are having doubts, means you are not clear. Then there is a problem. Okay. Any questions? Okay. So let's remove this. Contemplation of Dhamma, 5 aggregates. I think you already know it, right? Okay, we will just leave it. Okay. Now this is very important. Contemplation of the Dhamma sense pairs, āyatana. So let's read this first, okay? So here, O bhikkhus, a bhikkhu knows the I and material form and the fetter that arises dependent on both I and form, okay? And likewise, he knows the second one, okay? He knows the ear and sound and fetter that arises depend on both. Fetters means binding, okay? We will see what it means. And then depending on nose and odor, then fetter arises. And tongue and taste, fetter arises. Body and tangible, fetter arises. Mind and mental object, it means like your brain, okay? Mind and mental object, then the fetter arises. So now, and then he knows how the arising of the non-arising fetter comes to be. And then he knows how the abandoning of arising fetters comes to be. Okay. Basically, it means this. So fetter arise. Fetter is unwholesome things. Okay. We will see what it means. So fetter arise, he knows when it arises. And then if it is yet to be arisen, he knows, okay, it may arise, and then he is going to do some preventive method. And then if the fetter is present, then he knows the condition that lead to removal. So fetter is something unwholesome, unskillful, that you don't need to have it. Okay. So what fetter means is something like this. So now you can see the tent, right? So now slowly the concept of samsara is coming. Okay. So samsara means suffering. Okay. Dukkha. And dukkha, you don't have a proper English term. Okay. Unsatisfactoriness, samsara means just the mental flow is going. The mind is just keep continuing. Okay? That is samsara. So In Buddhism, what it says that you are having these sense faculties is not a problem, and the objects are not the problem. The problem that you are taken in this samsara is the fetters. Fetter is something that you find like a pole, okay? In the middle, you see the pole, right? That is the problem, okay? And then when there is pole, as long as there is a pole, then the tent is there. Samsara is there. So when the pole is removed, this tent, this tent can exist no more. It fall down, right? So basically, that is what it is saying. Okay, what this is what it means. So now, fetter means because of your sense doors and the object outside world. Okay, so you have this chain bond. We will explain this more. Okay. So listen, you need to listen this carefully. This is a little deeper things. Okay, philosophical thing. So when you, because of this your sense doors, and then because of the outside world, depending on this, okay, you have some sort of bond, some sort of fetter, or some sort of chain, some sort of binding, or let's say some sort of attachment. This attachment, so this is the problem, that plays a roles of kind of energy that is you are being there, okay, you're being there, the becoming there, the movement to movement. Now earlier I said samsara, you said like rebirth, and then that is fine, okay. Samsara is becoming, samsara is the moving forward. Previous moment we were there, right? And then at this moment we are here, next moment is also there, this is also samsara. So when, because of depending on this physical things and the mind, then this sammyojanas arise, attachment arise. Let's see. The first thing is belief in substantial and permanent self, sakkaya diṭṭhi. It means, say, for example, now we talked about mindfulness of mind, mindfulness of breathing. So you see something, right? And then after you seeing something, you have some sort of ideation, I said, permanent self. Because you are not aware of dependent arising, because you are ignorant about dependently arising. Okay, because of this that exists, because of that this exists. When this is, that is, when that is, this is. This the dependent arising theory. It means when you are not being scientific. So when you are not being very scientific, like in Buddhist way, what the Buddha says, then you have a concept of the permanent self, isn't it? So you think the mind is self, but we saw that mind comes arising and passes away, right? So if this passes away, the arises passes away, then it is not permanent. Then it is, if it is not permanent, then wow, how come there can be a permanent self? Isn't it? So when you are not aware of dependent horizon, then you have this ideation, concept of permanent self. So this is the first bond, okay? It means your view is there. You are holding on this view. Does that make sense? So this is the thing, it is taking you in this samsara. And then when you are not clear about it, then you have the doubt about the dependent origination, about the reality. Okay. So because you have doubt and you are not clear, you are confused, you are having very dualistic mind, and then you are seeking for, for a liberation or for happiness in different way. So one of the ways that dogmatic clinging to a particular rules and religious observance. So you cling to observing. Okay, you go to temple, or you go to many kind of things, and then now at the time of the Buddha, there were different kind of religious observance, right? Including like harming your body. You are attached to that. Why you are attached to that? Because you are not aware of, you are not being scientific. You are not aware how the things arises and how things passes away. You are not aware of dependent origination theory. You are not having understanding. Then you are clinging to different kind of pieces. That is not going to be helpful. Okay. So these three things are very important. And it is now slowly we will discuss a little about right view. So dogmatic clinging to particular rules and religious observance is some sort of result because you are not having a clear idea about the reality. Okay. So these things are, making you roam in the samsara, go just roam, becoming. The new ring of chain is coming. Okay, okay, and likewise, attachment to the sensual pleasure. Okay, we will discuss more a little. Aversion is coming there because of these physical sense doors and then mind. Okay, craving for fine material existence. It means if you are attaining dhyanas, okay, then you have a craving. You want to be there, and then craving for immaterial existence. Mana, conceit is there. Okay, and then restlessness is there, and ignorance is there. So because of these 10 fetters, bindings, okay, these unwholesome factors are there, you are continuing. That this plays the role of energy, kind of energy, okay, for being now. We will let's see now. Now it is something like this. Madhupindika Sutta, you have heard, I think, okay? Honey ball. So let's read this, not all, a little, okay? Depending on the I and form, and then when you say I and form, let's also assume to other physical senses, okay? So depending on the I and form, I consciousness arises. The meeting of these three is contact. It is called contact, okay? Contact is a condition for feeling. So because after contact, what comes? Feelings come, okay? And then after feeling, what you feel, you perceive. What you perceive, you think about. And what you think about, you proliferate. What you proliferate about is the source from which a person is beset by concept of identity that emerge from the proliferation of perception. This occurs with respect to form known by the I in the past, future, and present. Okay, so for now, you just see the word perceive and proliferation. Now, in your daily life, you hear, you see, you taste, right? And then you perceive. You remember that perception is always false, okay? And what we perceive, we start thinking it is true. And then because of this, thinking, then your mind proliferates. It means your mind extends more and more. And then when your mind proliferates, then you are somewhere here. For example, you hear something about a doctrine and then say even about Buddhism in a wrong way, okay? So you hold that view, okay? And then if you hold that view, then it becomes a bond, okay? A chain. And then there is a wrong view you are having, and then it becomes a problem. It becomes, because you proliferate. When you have proliferation, you are somewhere here. You see, mana is there, conceit is there. You think that I exist. Okay? So proliferate means that your mind becomes more, you think more and more, and then you think I exist, like, and then with your proliferation, the craving comes, okay? The view comes, the wrong view comes, and then, the I conceit comes, okay? So proliferation, remember, okay? So remember, when you have your mental proliferation is prapancha. Prapancha in Sanskrit, proliferation also means deceiving. It means you are proliferating, means that you think your perception, whatever your perception is right, and then you are in a trap. Okay, you are trapped. In Sanskrit, it also means deception. This for proliferation. Prapancha means deception. You are not deceived. So perception and reality is like different things. What you perceive is not the reality. What you think it is reality, but it is not necessarily reality, and then your mind proliferates. So those bonds come. So the mind chain comes to be, okay? So now you see now in your daily life, you can have a lot of examples actually. And actually this example is based on this, okay? This 10 bonds. Say for example, you see someone beautiful, you see someone handsome, okay? And then you have a sense of or ideation of permanence, and you think about the permanence, that is okay. You have feeling there, thinking there. Now here's feeling there, thinking, perception is there. The problem is when you proliferate, and then you start proliferating, means she is beautiful, and then I like it, then I comes, like comes, right? And then you want to have it, you wish to have it. You see the energy there? That is what it is making. I wish I will someday have this kind of person in my life. Okay, so in your daily life, you can see the example. So another example, say, so this is samsara, that is samsara. Okay, so previous moment was there, the present moment is there. Because the present moment is there, the future moment is there, next moment is there. Previous moment is something related with this I conceit, the present moment is there. So unwholesome, unwholesome, unwholesome. Does that make sense? So for example, now we are seeking, samsara is also something like seeking. Say for example, like there are people who wants to find a best place to live. Say for example, a Hong Kong person wants a very rich person, okay? So he lives in Hong Kong, and after some time he wants to live in a developed European country because the living condition is good. He thinks that. And then he goes there and then he start feeling missing the Hong Kong things there. Hong Kong food, Hong Kong culture, Hong Kong people, Hong Kong sea, right? And then he feel like to come back. And then he comes back. And then he again start missing, or the living condition there is good. And then he again goes back. So likewise, you are seeking for the best place. Okay? These all are dependent on the sensual things, right? So that seeking is what? The samsara. So samsara, because that is there, so the rebirth. Now, this seeking is not finished in this life. Okay? So that is how the next life comes. So how there is a next life is something, this is the logic. You are having previous moments, something related to unwholesome things, and then something unrelated to unwholesome thing you are having it now. And because of you are having it now, you're seeking for it. There's because you are thinking the best place exists. There is a view. Okay, the best place exists. So you are seeking for it, and then you are becoming again and again. So that is in the this see the samsara momentarily at this moment. Does that make sense? Yeah. So like this. And then now we have a teaching here, okay, in the Bahya Sutta. So herein, now so Bahya, there's a story there. I'm not going to tell the story. So Bahya is someone who wants to learn something from Buddhism. So from Buddha. Okay. So Bahya says, teach something, teach something. And okay, then Buddha says, okay, listen to this. Bahya, you should train yourself thus. In the seen will be merely what is seen. In the heard will be merely what is heard. In the sense will be merely what is sensed. In the cognized will be merely what is cognized. In this way, you should train yourself by here. Okay? So it means that whatever you seen, do not proliferate, do not take it as existing. Okay? Just whatever seen is just seen. You see, you saw it, you perceive it, you thought about it. Okay, that's all. You don't need to proliferate. But what if you proliferate? Then according to the mindfulness training, you can say, my mind is proliferating. Then okay. But until then, so how you need to train is that scene is just a scene, okay. Don't proliferate. Don't proliferate it as existing. You see, just like you search for a best place, right? And then you proliferate, you seek for it, and then you become. And that is the samsara, right? And let's say like samsara is something all your data, information you are having in your brain since your childhood. Okay. And then you care about it, the way how the society say, the way how I see. So you listen to the brain. Let's say samsara is listening to your brain. What is your brain is all the information you are having. You listen to your brain, but you are not listening to your heart, is samsara. So you are listening to the society, you are listening to the information you are having, accumulating in your mind, in your brain, is samsara. Okay. But if you say, for example, you want to be someone, that is what your heart says. You want to be a musician. Okay. But according to your informations that you have collected from the society and from the from what you have heard since your childhood, then you need to be a successful businessman, a very rich person. Then you are seeking to be a rich person. right? And then you're just seeking, then you're listening to your society, this is samsara. And then what if you don't listen to the people? Then, your parents will not respect you, the society will, not respect you, okay? So that is why in the part of the liberation is something that you are gaining nothing, actually. What would you gain if you are listening to your heart? Actually nothing, but you will gain blames, you may gain insults. Listening to the heart and listening to the brain in simple language, okay? So samsara that is also samsara. It means you are seeing, rather than seeking for your real happiness, you are being, listening to the society, listening to whatever you have in your brain, informations, the data. So the arahant, so the liberated one, is something who just, remove this data, doesn't care, and just, being what he is, okay? Listening to his heart, I would explain it that way. So those who have, that is why they are away from the samsara. It means they are what they are. They are not what they are not. Okay? So very honest, very genuine, and listening to their heart. We can explain in, we can interpret in that way. So let's see the second paragraph. So when by here, for you in the scene is merely what is seen. So after you train in that, okay, in the cognize is like you see, hear, or heard, sensed, okay? In cognize is merely what is cognized. If you can train in that way, then by here, you will not be what that, not be with that. When by here you are not with that, then by here you are not be in that. When by here you are not in that, then by here you will not be neither here nor beyond nor in between the two. Just this is the end of suffering. It means talking about the samsaric cycle. It means you are not in the flow. Your mind is not in the flow. You are not there. Now, can you understand what samsara means? Because you proliferate, you have your own vision, you have your own view of understanding, and then you are holding on to it. So when you are holding on to it, you are in the flow. And it is very easy to get caught by the flow. And if you can practice in such a way, you are not in that flow. If you are not in flow, it means where you are, you're nowhere. It means you are somewhere where it is not belonging to time and space. Does that make sense? Did you understand what I'm saying? So samsara, it means like you see in this moment. Okay? That is the thing. So you are not there. When you are not, proliferated, when you are not caught by a certain view, you are, being in the middle, being somewhere where there is no place. It means your mind is liberated. So likewise, the movement and movement. Okay? At this moment, you are liberated. If you are nowhere, if you are not in the flow, if you are not belonging to any chain of ring, then you are somewhere not belonging to. Can you see the samsara now? Okay. So free of samsara means this. You are not in the flow, not being in the flow. But flow is, samsara is, it's like samsara ogha. Ogha means flood. Flood means it is very easy to be taken by. Okay. But it is, but the practice is that if you can train your mind, train you in the daily life. Okay. So daily life is the meditation center for me. Should be, according to Satipatthana sutta, okay? The daily life, you find a lot of things. Say, for example, someone blames you, right? You hear it. You don't like it. See, you hear it, you feel something, you feel unpleasant, and you start thinking. You see the proliferation, how it goes. You start thinking, and then you think that thing exists. Oh, I was blamed for no reason. And then you get angry, you blame back, and then he blames back. You fight. Maybe he beats, you beat, right? And then you keep that in your mind. See, the samsara is there. And what it is to stop the samsara, to go in opposite way, that is what you call patisotagami, opposite way. What if someone blames and then you find, it's okay, you can blame more. Samsara stops there. See, if the normal way is the samsara runs, but the samsara stops there if you train the mind in an opposite way. But it is not something very easy. That is why it is called patisotagami, means following the upstream. The Buddhist teaching is called following the upstream, not the following the stream. Okay, what is Buddhism is following the upstream. Someone blames you, you will smile and then you say it's okay. Or in where it is Jesus, sorry, Bible I heard, I haven't read it. You say if someone slaps you, then you ask to slap to another cheek, right? That is something talking about this following upstream, stopping the samsara, something like that. Okay. So when you are not proliferating, when you can train your mind in that way, in this way, be following the upstream, then you are not belonging to anywhere, means you are free from the samsara. You are not there. So there means this is the end of suffering. Means regarding that, that is the end of suffering. You are not there, means you are not in the flow. So suffering, samsara, same. Okay. So Satipatthana reference come again, but I'm not going to read this. You can relate with this. Okay. So after that, contemplation of Dhamma comes. We are about to end. Okay, don't worry. So yes, mindfulness, investigation of Dhammas, joyful. These are the awakening factors. Okay. So mindfulness is just the thing what we are talking. Okay. So when you have this establishment of mindfulness, and then you investigate the Dhammas, the reality. So now you see the investigation is highly, regarded by Buddhism, the Buddha. So you see here, bhikkhu who is who is an inquirer, who does not know another's mind, should make an investigation of the Tathagata in order to find out whether or not he is fully enlightened. So Buddha even gives the full freedom to search, even to investigate even the Buddha himself. You do not believe in the Buddha, you investigate. Fine, if it is enlightened or not. Okay. And then the diligence, opposite to sloth and torpor. Okay. Being physically effortful and being mentally effortful. It means heedfulness, diligence. Now, when you see effortful doesn't mean some people actually, being effortful means, being very, what to say, kind of hurry. It's not being hurry. Okay. Being effortful means having the mindfulness itself, being mindful, being very, awakeness. Okay. Seeing thing as it is, to make effort. Okay. So as if smitten by a sword, if his head were on fire. You see, a bhikkhu should wander mindfully. And this is the thing what the Buddha says. Monks, let me now address you. This is the last word of the Buddha. Conditioned phenomena are subject to decay. Therefore, strive on with heedfulness. Heedfulness means being mindfulness. Heedfulness, being mindfulness. Being mindfulness means to know. What to know? The things as they are. Being alert, knowing. Okay. So don't misunderstand, because effortness, appamada. Appamada means somehow people tend to understand not to be late. It's not the case. It is not about being hurry. Okay. And then joy, sensual joy, jhanic type of joy is there. Okay. So this is not a sensual type of joy. So when you have this understanding of the Dhamma, you have joy. And then concentration, equanimity. Okay, I'm not going to talk about this. And then it finds Dhamma, the mindfulness of the Dhamma also have these Four Noble Truths, which I'm not going to talk about, as you have already learned or maybe learning in the which course? Yes. Okay, wheel turning, dukkha is there, samsaric dukkha, craving, cessation. And now finally we are talking about this so cessation of dukkha, attainment of nibbana, and this the fourth noble truth is the path, right? So now what we are talking about this is satipatthana. Sati means mindfulness. Remember that mindfulness practice, the right mindfulness, it becomes right mindfulness when you have right view. So that is why it is very important. Okay, when you have proper view, when you have right view, then you have right intention. So Mahatattari Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya, that's what it explains. So right view is the forerunner, number one. Okay, so when you have right view, where you have right intention, and then you have right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, and then you have right mindfulness. and then you have right concentration. So that is why I said, when you are, if you have attained the ana, doesn't mean that you have attained the right concentration. Okay, it is different. To have a right concentration, you with the right concentration means the accomplishment of the all seven, and it is, become one by one. The practice is actually effortless when you have right mind, right view. Okay, it means you have right understanding. When you have right understanding, the other parts naturally comes. Your practice becomes naturally. Until you don't have right view, until you have right view, what it means then? It means actually your practice can be wrong. So right view is important to understand. So right view is something that you need to cultivate. Right view is something you need to have. Otherwise, you are not sure where you are. Okay, it can be a wrong practice and wrong mindfulness also. Okay, it can be wrong mindfulness. So now the problem is like what is right view? Okay, so there are different ways of explaining. Now, for example, in general sense, killing someone is, if someone say that killing is okay, then it is wrong view. If the Buddha says that killing is not okay, if someone says killing is not okay, then it is right view. But this right view, this kind of right view, is called this lokiya sammaditthi, or this mundane level for this general society. But right view, if you observe it more deeply, okay, more deeply, now you see in this Kaccanagotta Citta, again it is connected with emptiness. Again it is connected with what we discussed earlier in this Satipatthana refrain in repetitions. Okay, so now let's read this. Venerable Sir, it is said right view, right view. In what way, Venerable Sir, it is their right view? And then the Buddha said, it is in this way, Kaccana, that there is right view. All exists, Kaccana, this is one extreme. All does not exist, that is second extreme. Without veering towards either of these extremes, the Tathagata teaches the Dhamma by the middle. Majjena Tathagato Dhammang Deseti. By in the middle. So now you can understand. Now earlier we discussed this. Ultimately, mind does not exist, right? But what if you grasp mind does not exist? Then it is a wrong view. You are grasping, you are holding one extreme. But what you think that mind exists, that is another extreme. What, like self exist or not? I'm asking you a question. Self exist or not? Can I see the answer? One of you? Does self exist or not? Does not exist? And that is wrong view then. You're holding. Normally, it is something like this. That is why anatma, you don't translate it as selflessness. You translate it as no self. It is something like you do not need to take something as self. It means self exists. When the Buddha was asked directly, self exists or not, Buddha was quiet. Okay, because it is misleading. The answer, self exists or not. So, but you hear non-self, right? No self, anatta. Always that is in the context. There is a context we need to understand. But if you suddenly grasp no self, Buddhism is no self. There is no such thing called self, selflessness. Then you are holding an extreme. Then you say self exists, then it is one extreme. Self does not exist. That is, both are same. Okay, so always now Buddha talk about this selflessness, or sorry, no self, anatma, is always in the context. The context is the impermanence, suffering, and therefore no self. No self means that you cannot take thing as something existing. You cannot take something as self, something as self. Okay, the mind is there. We just don't need to take it as a self, me. You don't need to take it as is. That is what it means. Okay, but if the question directly comes in a one sentence, self exists or not, and if you are answering does not exist, no, it is not according with the Buddhism. Okay, yadanichang tang dukkang, yang dukkang tang anatta, something like that. Whatever is impermanent, so the impermanent means things are not existing there. So which part you can take self? That is what it means, permanent self. So if it is impermanent, then there is nothing to talk about self. Okay, so this mind exists, mind does not exist. Both can be too extreme. But you can say mind exists conditionally, and then you put the word mind there. So you put in a context, then you are free. Okay, so all does not exist one extreme, all exist another extreme. What the Buddha teaches is being in the middle. Okay, but one thing you need to remember, another thing. Okay, you see, the thoughtful one who has known both ends and is not stuck in the middle. And also you do not stuck in the middle, like you do not hold the middle. Did you get it? Self exists, you do not answer. Self does not exist, you do not answer. At the same time, you do not hold the middle, attach to the middle also. Okay, is it clear? Yes. So he is a great man, I declare. He has escaped the seamstress here. So this is right view. So right view in a deeper sense. Now there is already a Mahayana philosophy here. You don't need to say Mahayana philosophy, but we can say the philosophy or the teaching that the Mahayana tradition highlighted. Okay, the sunyata, okay, is here. Is that clear? So this is now going to end and then like so the Satipatthana Sutta ends here, and then afterward there's again the Satipatthana refrain. No need to talk about it. So you know what is right view now. Right view is not something grasping to the view, but you can have a vision. You can have a view. Diṭṭhinca anupagamma silava dassanena sampanno. Dassanena sampanno means you can be endowed with a vision. Become a visionary person, but do not grasp a view. Buddhism itself, you do not take Buddhism. Okay, the view, don't grasp the view, but become a visionary person, a philosophical. You can have a philosophy. You can see the world from your own view, but you don't need to grasp it. Okay, you don't need to attach. And if you attach it, what happens? Then that is this fetter that is actually taken to the world in the samsara. Okay, so after the prediction is something that after the teaching of the Buddha says that maximally if you practice mindfulness of mind, mindfulness like this way, then maximally it may take 7 years. And then if you are practicing in this way, actually you can even attain the liberation in 7 days. It's all about understanding. It's all about understanding, okay? So it is all about listening and it is all about understanding. For me, actually, listening and understanding itself is the practice. You understand the mind itself is the practice. So you see, 6 months and see, mindfulness meditation 6 years, 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, and then 7 days can expect one of two results, enlightenment in the present life. If there is something left over, non-returner, non-returner mean that in a very textual speaking, non-returner means that you become, very Brahma world, and then you don't need to return to this material world, but you attain the liberation there. Non-returnal for me in the philosophical sense, and a friend of mine also give this idea that non-returnal means something that your attainment is something there, okay? Then you are not going to retrogress or you're not turning back. You have some sort of understanding and that you are not, having back to this, this normal way of thinking, okay? But you still have not attained the liberation. So that is non-returnal. We can understand in that way also, okay? And then you can see protecting now throughout this Satipatthana Sutta. If you are practicing, I told you, being energy, being very refreshed, right? And then you are protecting yourself, your body, your mind. Actually, you are not, being disturbed by seeing anything in this world, by hearing anything in this world. Your mind is not depressed, okay? And even if it is depressed, you know how it comes and how it goes. All these things will, make you stronger. So mindfulness practice in a way is protecting oneself, and you also, while practicing, you protect others. Because together the mindfulness practice, what you have also a cultivation of patience and forbearance. That is there, okay? Non-violent and harmless life. and by loving kindness and compassion. You have also, these are included in the mindfulness practice. Then you are protecting yourself. At the same time, you are protecting the others. Okay? And finally, the sutta ends saying this. This is the one-going path, ekai no mago, for the purification of sentient beings, for the surmounting of sorrow and lamentation, for ending the path and sadness, for acquiring the true method, and to realize the nibbana, that is the establishment of mindfulness. And this is the end of the sutta. Yes. Do you have any questions? Any unclarities? We still have some minutes, and then if you want, we can extend few more minutes. Is your understanding about the Satipatthana Sutta or mindfulness training is clearer? And just we learn about this mindfulness of mind, and then what I highlighted is that let the emotions, let the mind comes, let the mind goes, see the nature of arising, how it arises, the conditions of arising, and then let it come, let it go, and then do not try to purify your these emotions or mind or unwholesome thing, but try to understand. You understand more, then you are free, you become free more. Okay, you are more calmed. That is what it means. So the deeper understanding is that you can see in a very middle way, in a right way, right? You being aware that mind exists for the knowing, not for the continuous practice. So likewise, the mind, and then the feeling is there, whatever feeling, and then whatever related to body, and then whatever related to these dharmas. Not grasping the concepts as exist, or not clinging to the concepts. When you are not clinging to the concepts, then you are free. And overall, if you see Buddhism, clearly Buddhism, what it talks about is actually not clinging, not attachment. The problem, it says, the problem of everything is actually just, attached to it. The views, the things, sensual desire, or whatever mental condition, when you are attached to it, then you, then the suffering is there. So overall, what Buddhism actually talks about is, just get rid of this, attachment, non-clinging, clinging, just get rid of clinging. That is what it says. Yeah. So this is the Satipatthana Sutta. Any questions? Yes. Now you see the nature of arising, nature of passing, right? So then when you say nature of arising, it's not about nature of mind. So mind, nature of mind is this emotion, this and that, right? And the nature of, when you say nature of arising, then yes, causes and conditions. So for example, you are like stressed, right? So what is the causes? Oh, I have exams. Oh, so condition is there, right? Causes and condition. I'm in this situation now. So I have stress. So when the causes and conditions are there, stress is there. Let it be, and then you don't need to make the problem. No, I mean, if we can learn how to not make a problem an issue, then there's no problem actually. No, I mean, can't we live, you know, uh, stress is there, let's not make it a problem because there's a causes, conditions are there. So stress is there. Okay, let it come, let it go. You just see, oh, now it comes, now it goes, right? Yang kinci samudaya dhammang sabbang tang nirodha dhammang. Itu arises causes, right? Hetu paticca samuptang hetu bhanga nirodhati. So okay, when the exam finished, stress goes away. Let it come, let it go. So it is something that you are not fighting with it. Remember, when you are fighting with it, it comes stronger. That is the nature of the mind. It's like a kid, it always seek for attention. When you fight, you can see that. When you fight, it comes stronger. That is the nature of the mind. You just see and just let it come, let it go. You just say, okay, come. Stress, okay, come. Okay, finish, you go. Yeah. Sorry. Uh-huh. Oh, okay. So Bahya Sutta usually it's all about saying that how you do not need to be in the samsara. So it is not directly about Satipatthana Sutta, but it is relating, especially when we are talking about these fetters. So how you are going to deal with unarisen fetters when the attachment or fetter is not there, how you are going to deal with that. So how you need to train in that. So Bahya Sutta is especially about that. In the scene, actually, that is all what you find in the sutta. And according to sutta, after listening to this, Bahya, okay, he becomes arahant. He understood it. He knew it. Very quickly, he understood it. And then he died. Yeah, so he died on his way back home. So what I wanted to say is that, yeah, so they are related. And the another sutta is Anangana Sutta, right? So Anangana Sutta is, you find in the Majjhima Nikaya, that sutta, overall it says, the defilement is okay, but what if you are not aware? It can destruct you. That is why it is called unwholesome, unskillful. I would like akusala. So when you are having akusala chitta in the previous moment, linked to it, you have this in this moment. And linked to that, you have akusala chitta, unwholesome chitta, mind in the future. This is samsara. And if you are not aware, you are in this samsara, and then more or less you are, suffer. And it is unwholesome in the sense that it is going to harm you and it is going to harm others. So defilement, it is like natural, we have, it's fine, let it be. But the problem, like, what if we are not aware? Say, what if we all have this envy, jealous, this comes, right? So what if you are not aware of it? You can, harm others. So you admit, oh, this is jealous. Oh, I'm having jealous. It's fine. Because of some conditions, because of uncultivated mind, because of ego, because of ignorance, having this jealous. And you need to know that. And then when you know that, that means you are in wholesome side. But if you are not knowing, then you are unwholesome. Means mindfulness is something that you can make unwholesome and wholesome. You are unwholesome thought you are having, but if you are mindful, then because of mindful, it will make it purify. It's fine. You are not going to act in a wrong way. It just stopped you. So that is the importance of the understanding this mindfulness. Any questions? Tired? I think so. A lot of information, right? No, we are not taking attendance for this course. Yeah. You register, then you can. But we are not counting the attendance. But don't miss the class. For like undergraduate students, we take, and Venerable say that no need to take attendance, no need to force. Just forcing for assignment is okay. Me? At the end of the sutta, did you feel so? And then that is why he says. Because, this is something related to this Pali, okay? And Pali literature. And then he thinks that I can, read this Pali, and then it doesn't mean that I'm expert in Pali, okay? So I think he because this is something related to Pali Nikayas. So yeah, I have read this sutta, and then it was somehow related with my thesis also. Not all, somehow I took from this sutta. So yeah. Any other questions? Yes. How to see things as they are, right? And yeah, we saw like 3-4 stages. First, just in a normal way how we can see, right? Yes, yes. So finally, it is that. But the thing is that it is, as long as we are having ignorance, right? We are like dealing with this worldly life, right? So we have some ignorance. So we have ignorance. So logically we can understand, but some sort of realization is not there. So how to realize is actually by listening, by listening to this kind of lectures. And the realization is something, a bonus, I think, in my understanding. You cannot seek for it. You cannot trace for it. It will come when it is supposed to come. So for now, logical understanding is good. That is what you call anuloma jnana in Pali, in early Buddhism. Okay, so it is something you listen. That is first stage. Second is stage that you logically understand. So like emptiness, you logically understand. So when you have logically understand, slowly you have this right view, right understanding, sammyak diṭṭhi, proper understanding. So when you have proper understanding, that's enough. Other things are natural process. So when you have right view, then naturally you have right intention. When you have naturally right intention, naturally you speak, you do like this, and then this naturally you are, mindfully practice right mindfulness. So let it be there. I mean the natural process. If you can understand this right view, that is already great thing. So listening, and then you think about it. That is what you call investigation, right? Dhamma manasikara you call. And then when you have this investigation, logical understanding, you are like mature in understanding little by little. And then someday the bonus of realization you will receive. It is not something that you can get. Actually, it is something that you will see the teacher in yourself. Yeah, I can say in that way. Because finally what Buddha says, attadipa viharat. Okay, be your own island yourself, or be the lamp yourself. Okay, and someday you will understand, and more, and then it is something like seeking for a guru or teacher outside world. Actually you will make yourself a teacher. Yeah. So the realization or whatever it is, nibbana, or don't think about it. Just otherwise if you think, then you will take it as a concept in existing. So things as they are. First, what we need to do is listen, and then secondly, to just understand logically. It makes sense, right? I think it makes sense. But if you can challenge, no, it is not the thing the way how the Buddha said. Also, okay. Yeah. Okay, then it's 9:30. Let's go back home. Thank you. Thank you.